طيب دلوقتي كمان هنروح مع حضراتكم نتابع مع بعض لقاء حصري عملته جمانة مع نجم ستاند اب كوميدي راسل بيترز، واتكلم فيه عن اشهر المواقف والحكايات اللي حصلت له ونالت اعجاب الجمهور. خلينا نتابع ونرجع بعد كده نكمل الكلام مع حضراتكم.
مشاهدين صباح الخير يا مصر في كل مكان، اهلا بحضراتكم. احنا النهارده معاكم من مكان مختلف ومعانا كمان ضيف مختلف. احنا النهارده معانا واحد من اهم واشهر الستاند اب كوميديانز في العالم، جاي يزور مصر لاول مره ضمن جولته العالميه اكتر ايج عشان يقدم عروض مختلفه على مدار يومين 17 و18 ديسمبر في زد بارك. وطبعا هذا الحدث بتنظيم ميك سم نويز، شركه ميك سم نويز، وبالاشتراك مع شركه ار برودكشنز والحزب الكوميدي. بما ان احنا الشعب بيقدر الضحك ودمه خفيف بالفطره، ما كانش ينفع نفوت فرصه انه يكون موجود هنا في مصر لاول مره وما يكونش معانا في صباح الخير يا مصر. هو دلوقتي بالفعل بيحاول يضحكني، بس انا همسك نفسي. معانا دلوقتي راسل بيترز. راسل.
That was great. I understood nothing.
First of all, I'm very happy that you're here in Egypt.
Jamana, I'm very happy to be here in Egypt.
And of course, it's a privilege to be on Sabah al-Khair Ya Masr screen.
See, she tried to get me to say the name of the show in Arabic before.
You'll say it.
Yeah, but I have to say
You'll
it in
say
three
it eventually.
sections. I have to say it in 3 sections.
Yes, you'll
Because you
say
make
it.
it all one nice big word, and I make it sound like a 2-year-old trying to learn how to say potato.
I know you. Potato, potato.
Potato.
Okay, Russell, actually, I have a lot to ask.
Go for
but,
it.
I have an urgent question that I can't help asking it in the very beginning.
Okay.
It's your first time here in Egypt.
It is my first time in Egypt.
Yes, and when you first knew that your world tour actor age is folding Egypt, and you're gonna perform here in Egypt for the very first time, what's the first thing that popped up in your mind, or actually the first line that popped up in your mind, the first comedic line?
Well, somebody said, when my management and agents called me and said, you're going to go to Egypt, and I said, that's amazing, and they said, but it's going to be in the winter, and I said, well, that's Sphinx. It can't all be good, guys. I like to start off bad and get better.
You're getting better, don't worry. Okay, Russell, you're one of the most iconic, popular international stand-up comedians. Wow. You've won too many awards to count. Actually, I'm not envying you, by the way. And like, for example, the Gemini Awards.
Gemini Awards.
Yes,
yeah.
2008.
Is that what it was? Yeah, I guess it
yeah,
was.
and you're the first comedian to get a Netflix stand-up special, Notorious. I'm talking about Notorious.
Correct.
2013.
Yep.
And you're the first comedian as well to sell out Toronto's Air Canada Centre,
Yep.
selling more than 16,000 tickets. 2007.
We've
2007.
sold it out
Much more, actually.
7 times now we've sold it out.
Yes, but the question is, how did it all started?
Well, I started doing comedy in 1989. I think that's before you were born. And
Yeah.
yeah, it is, right? You're like, well, actually, yeah, it is. Right.
This is so embarrassing, by the way.
Anyway, you know, I just had no plans in life, and I was like, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And here we are 32 years later, and I'm in Egypt.
Yeah, and you're most welcome here in Egypt.
Listen, honestly, when we were driving here, everyone's like, what did it feel like? I go, it felt familiar. And that's because when I look out the window, I feel like I'm in Mumbai. Because the driving is erratic, and then you're right by the body of water and the nice hotel, and then you're looking at all of it's very parallel. I think they're twin cities.
Okay, so Russell, you're a child of an immigrant Indian family.
Right.
And you've declared before that you suffered from bullying
Right.
because of your ethnicity.
It was more my color, but yeah. Because in Canada, you know, in the 70s, you're a brown kid, and it's just white. And there was black families, and they were the only ones that didn't pick on me, so I hung around the S-wood.
Actually,
Can you say that? You say that, right?
Aswad? No, we don't say Aswad.
What do you say for black people?
Asmar.
Asmar?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, Asmar. It's a good thing, by the way.
Oh yeah, no, I would
It's
rather.
a compliment.
I would rather know the right way to say it than the insulting way. You know?
No, it's more of a compliment.
Oh, good.
بنقول شاب أسمر جميل.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. So Russell, I'm intrigued to know, how could you turn this suffering into a motive or actually a bless?
Well, I think the thing with me is I think everybody has an inside thing about them from when they're born. And my insides have always been happy. No matter what's happening on the outside to me, the inside, the light inside of me is happy. Some people have a negative light in them, and you can see it when you talk to people. You ever meet people and you look at them and you go, something about that person they're just miserable.
As they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Right, and I don't think this is in my beholding. It's just in me.
Okay, Russell, in 1992, you met someone who had a great impact on your career.
Correct.
Right? George Carlin. Sorry.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
So George Carlin was my idol in comedy. He was the guy that I always watched and looked up to, and I knew I would never be as good as him, but I also knew that I would have to find my own way and be me. And I got to meet him in 1992, and I had only been doing stand-up 3 years at that time. But the last thing I said to him that night, because I ended up walking him back to his hotel, and I said to him, hey, maybe we'll work together one day. And he said, you never know, kid, it's a crazy business. And then you cut to 2008, and I worked with him 10 months before he died.
Well, that wasn't the only coincidence that had a good impact on your career. I think someone chopped your videos and uploaded it on the YouTube, and I think you said also that you don't even know how to upload. You didn't know by then how to upload videos.
I still don't know how to upload videos. I know how to do it on Instagram because it's very easy.
Yes.
But on YouTube, I have no clue how to do it.
Since then, everything has changed, right?
The whole world's changed. I mean, what started for me was file sharing in 2004. People were emailing you a file, and it'd be like maybe a 2-minute clip, and they'd be like, hey, they'd email it to you, and you'd have to download it, and it would take you 20 minutes to download a 2-minute clip. Do you remember those times?
Yes.
And then YouTube started in 2005, and then that changed everything.
Okay.
And here we are 16 years later.
And the best is yet to come.
I keep moving around to bother your cameraman.
No, they're enjoying, no worries. Russell, your performance features observational comedy. In other words, you use comedy to highlight racial, ethnic, class, cultural stereotypes. How do you find the audience response regarding such topics? In other words, poking the bear.
Well, I mean, that's what I was doing before. I mean, my new act is not as much of that stuff. Now I'm a 51-year-old father of 2. I can't, I've seen the world a few times now. So for me to act like something's new, only place I can act like it's new is here because this is my first time here. So things are new to me again, which is great because you don't get that new feeling all the time. So when something is new, you always discover things about yourself and about other people. So this is fun for me. So, I mean, who knows what's going to happen this weekend, because I'm pretty sure some new stuff will come out that was not in my act before today.
Russell, it's a long journey of yours, too many stops and steps. So in your point of view, what is the main reason or the factor that made your stand-up comedy show grew bigger and grew actually global?
I mean, I think the internet was what made it grow globally. I was already touring around the world from like 1995. Because I went to England and I had an agent in England who would book me. He would get me booked in like Ireland and then Wales, and then he'd be like, "Do you want to go to Belgium on a Tuesday, and then Denmark on a Wednesday, and then Sweden on a Thursday?" No,
it's not that easy.
It's fun.
You're enjoying it.
You're in your 20s. People are like, "Hey, you want to go here for free?" You're like, "Yeah, I want to go." Yeah, and here's some money. I'll take that too.
So, what has changed since your first performance at Jacquia's Comedy Club till now?
I think about 100 pounds. Okay, maybe 75, but whatever. I mean, I grew I was 19 and I'm 51. I mean, you think about who you were at 19 and you're nowhere near 51. Keep changing. I think, don't they say every 7 years you change as a person? I think this is my 7th year. Well,
you've performed in many countries with different cultures and many many diversities. And no doubt you're smart enough to realize that. So my question is, how do you see differences in people, and how do you see the way they perceive your comedic lines?
Well, the funny thing is I present it like we're all different, but what I'm really presenting to you is that we're all exactly the same. Because I'll say, Egyptian people do this, and then Indian people go, no, we do that. And then Scottish people are like, we do that too. And I don't know what accent that was, but but like everybody does the exact same things, but we all think we're the only ones that do that. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you present it a certain way so that this group feels like it's for them and this group feels like it's for them, but really we all do the exact same things.
Okay, well, speaking of the accents, you mimic accents very good.
Okay.
Right? Is there any accent that you've been unable to master?
Apparently Scottish just now.
Scottish.
When I just did Scottish, it sounded nothing like Scottish. So let's go with Scottish today.
But you have your own way. And actually, I checked a video of you, and you were talking or giving a piece of advice to people who doesn't know or who doesn't have second language.
Right.
What's this tip?
Well, the trick, if you don't speak another language, know what it sounds like, and then say it like you're angry. Because if you act angry, it'll sound believable.
Show us.
Like, okay, I don't speak Arabic, but if I wanted to be like, but like I would throw a real word in there because we're on TV. I don't want to swear, because the only word I would throw in would be a swear word. You have to learn one swear word in every language and then fake a sentence. You could do it with Chinese. You you just act angry about it.
Chinese,
it sounded Chinese, didn't it?
Yes, it sounds Chinese.
Somewhere there's a Chinese guy watching this. This guy's no good.
I'll consider this trick, by the way.
Sorry?
I'll consider this trick. Performing on the stage is not such an easy thing to do. And I think you always experience and go through a lot of experiences and a lot of situations. What do you do if the audience didn't respond or didn't respond to your comedic jokes? How do you deal with the hecklers as well?
I mean, you don't invite the hecklers. I mean, a lot of times the hecklers aren't really heckling. They're just excited to see you, and they just have bad timing. So I'll be talking, and I'll take a pause for a second. Somebody will be like, I love you, Russell. And I'm like, shut up. You can love me, but can you love me quietly? So you get those situations. And when your jokes, I mean, it's up to you. You have to determine, did that joke not get a laugh because I didn't say it right, or was it not funny, or did they misunderstand it? Did they not understand it? You got to be able to break it down honestly in your head and be like, where did it go wrong? Mm-hmm. And if I do a joke that I know isn't really that funny and it doesn't get a laugh, I will call myself out on it on stage. I'll go, well, that sucked.
Speaking of this, how do you come up with your ideas? Do you improv, or you just crafting up your own comedic lines?
Both.
Both.
I improv on stage, and that's how I write. Mm-hmm. So, and you see me, I just talk to people. When I talk to people, that's where you get your information from.
So, Russell, what's the most memorable moment for you in your career so far?
This one time I was doing Good Morning Egypt.
Oh my God.
And I can't get it out of my head.
Oh my God. I'm flattered.
I'm living in denial.
Denial. Okay. And who makes you laugh?
Apparently Jamana makes me laugh.
Oh my God.
I think my kids make me laugh. My daughter and my son will make me laugh. My son's just learning how to talk, and he has a very funny way of saying yes.
He has the same sense of humor of yours?
He's got a temper, that kid. I don't know. We'll see. I think he's very sharp, and my daughter has a funny sense of humor. My daughter has a dark sense of humor. It's kind of funny.
Okay. So, Russell, were you the class clown, or
No.
you were just the funny kid?
No, the class clown is the loud, obnoxious guy in class. Mm-hmm. So say you and I were in class together, and the class clown was over there making a lot of noise. I would just try to make you laugh, making fun of him. I'd be like, look at how stupid this guy looks. And you and I would be laughing, and the rest of the class may be laughing at him because he's popular, but you and I would be having the real laughs because what we were doing was funny.
Yes, I got it. Best and worst thing in your career?
Best best. I mean, the best thing in my career is the success. The worst thing is being away from my family. Because you want to maintain it, and you want them to live a certain lifestyle.
Yes.
And the only way you can do that is if you get out there and work.
Yes, it's hard.
Yeah.
So, has anything embarrassing has ever happened to you?
All the time.
What's your advice for the rising stand-up comedians?
For any comedian, I tell them, do it. Number one, do it because it's calling you. Comedy calls you. You don't call comedy. You know, even though I was always a fan of comedy, I never sat there and went, I'm going to do comedy. Comedy just kind of came to me, and I was like, I think I'm going to try comedy. It wasn't like I had this whole big plan or this goal. And don't do it if you think you're going to get rich. That's the wrong reason to do this. I was poor for a long, long time. The first 35 years of my life broke. And, you know.
Let's say below the middle class.
Oh, way below the middle class. Like I look outside and I see some of those buildings that are like in the side of the walls, and I'm like, that would have been me. That could have been me.
Okay, Russell, since we were doing this interview for صباح الخير يا مصر.
That's the one.
Yes, and it's gonna be aired on channel 1. So, what if I ask you to pick up a line or make a comedic line for صباح الخير يا مصر, or for a morning show?
Well, here's the thing. You have this morning show. There's you, Jomana,
Yes.
and then there's 3 other people on the show, right?
Yes.
Another woman and 2 other men?
Yes.
So it's 2 and 2, right?
Yes.
And then the other guy, what's his name? He's not here this week?
Hossam,
You're not here this week. So due to corporate cutbacks, you've been replaced by a chubby Indian man. Sorry, Egypt.
Russell, I really enjoyed this interview. Actually, I think it's a friendly talk.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
More of an interview.
Yeah.
And of course, you're most welcome here, and we would like to have you more often here in Egypt.
Yeah, you mean you don't have to convince me. I'm already loving it. I haven't even left the hotel yet.
It's a pleasure, and I wish you the best of luck
Thank you.
in your performance on 17th and 18th of December.
Will you be there?
Of course.
Okay, I'll be there too.
Of course.
Shukran, habibti.
No, not before you say صباح الخير يا مصر.
Yeah, sabah khir.
No, I know that trick.
Okay,
No.
give it to me in 3 words.
صباح
Sabah,
الخير
ilhir,
يا
yeah,
مصر.
must.
Huh.
Now just piece it together so it sounds like I said it in one sentence.
Russell, thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's cheers again.
Thank you. مشاهدينا، وده كان لقاءنا مع راسل بيترز، أحد أهم الستاند اب كوميديانز في العالم. شكرا لحضراتكم جميعا.